Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie McBride, and it's my privilege and pleasure today to review for you the 3 Everyday Essentials Guidebooks. Now, as a clinical herbalist, I have had probably 4 or 5 whole bookshelves full of just herbals. I cleared the clutter a few years ago and kept only my favorite. So it has something that I have put a lot of my thought into and a lot of time into choosing which herbal books I like best and for what reasons. So it was really fun and interesting for me to take a look at these materials that I hadn't seen yet and to really give some thought into what I like about them, what's useful, things that I would change. And so my first impression of these 3 is that they're uplifting. So here are 2 of them. You can see like with the fruit on them and the bright citrus colors, that's very like uplifting and kind of happy, healthy looking. But they include flowers and the color purple, which is very calming. So I think in general, aesthetically, like the color scheme really works for me. And here's just like an example of the inside of this Everyday Essentials main guidebook. And I think it's the layout and the way that it's done is very aesthetic. It's not only easy to look things up, it's very clear and consistent throughout the book. They're alphabetized. But it's just pleasant to look at, and I like the design, I like the colors. And that actually is something that is important to me because when I'm looking up something quickly, I want to like know exactly where to find it. And it seems like with all of these materials, if you just use them 1 or 2 times, then you're like, oh, I know how to use them. It's really intuitive. So another thing I liked about this bigger book is the beginning section. There's a lot of really helpful things, like this dilution chart shows how to use the roller bottle in dilutions. And people ask me that a lot, like how many drops of essential oil do I use in a roller bottle per carrier oil drops? And so that's something that I often explain to people, and I like how it's really easily like laid out and visual, like the difference between what an adult would do and what you do for an infant or kids or a new time user with sensitive skin. So I think there's some really good instructions here. Moving on to the Everyday A to Z guide. This is the smaller like pocket guide, which I could see being a really good resource for both people who are seasoned with using essential oils and also people who are brand new to using essential oils. And one reason for that is simply that the layout includes a lot of different conditions, and it's really easy to find what you're looking for because it's alphabetized. And the top 3 oils are recommended for each different ailment, and I just think it's super easy to use. And then it tells you how to use it topically, internally, or aromatically. And then again, you have this chart with the roller bottles, and you have some really like colorful, easy to read displays of phototoxicity, sensitivity. So I do think that this is very handy and more thorough than some of the other A to Z guides I've seen. This is probably my favorite of these books because I think it goes above and beyond what other feeling good with essential oils books or guides to emotional well-being for the use of essential oils books do. And one of the reasons for that is it doesn't just talk about feelings, like it does have things like guilt and loneliness and jealousy that everybody experiences it sometimes in their life, but it also has things that are a little less usual, like pride and a feeling of being stuck and codependency, feeling like you have to be right all the time. These are just much more specific kind of fine-tuning, like you're overwhelmed and overworked. Like I think it really allows us with so many different sections and so many different types of emotional difficulty or challenges that people face. There's just so many to choose from that it's really kind of cool to like look through it and be able to fine-tune for yourself. And then once it gets into the recommendations, again, it's like laid out really clearly. It's aesthetic to look at. And there's a lot of different recommendations. So you don't have to do all 4 or 5 of the things listed, but to look through and be like, oh, actually like putting the drops on the bottom of my feet is going to be like the easiest thing that I can do in the moment compared to like maybe putting it in a diffuser or doing something that takes a few more seconds to do. Or maybe you'd rather take a bath and you're like planning on having your night be around looking at what emotional support you can get from essential oils. So it's just nice that it gives so many different recommendations for different things, and also that there's a lot of different oils to choose from as well. You don't have to just have every single specific oil. You can look through a whole list of oils that would work for the kind of situation you're experiencing. So overall, I think I'm going to definitely use this one a lot for myself and for other people. I think it's really fun to work with essential oils for emotions. And then these I can see just keeping in my living room, showing my kids how to use when I'm not around or they need some help. And I also think it would be one, because there's so many different ailments listed, that I might go to more quickly than others, just for like something unusual that I haven't worked with before. So that's my review. And it was really fun to look at these books, and I hope that you will check them out if you need this kind of support. Bye, everyone.